Right now, $1 trillion is pouring into artificial intelligence under the specific premise that machines are learning to operate entirely on their own. But the term AI often masks the reality of how these models actually function. Behind the sleek interfaces, there is a massive, highly manual, human-powered data operation. This diagram represents how a neural network processes information. To complete its logic paths, the system requires a constant feed of human behavioral inputs. If you cut off that supply of raw data, the algorithms immediately stall. To solve this cognition bottleneck, Western tech giants outsource the foundational learning layer of their software, and they are turning to a familiar destination. India currently provides the second-largest AI workforce in the world. The question is whether building this massive human infrastructure is laying the groundwork for digital sovereignty or simply updating a decades-old business model where the country serves as the low-margin back office for the West. This chart tracks the explosive growth in global spend on third-party data annotation. As the demand scales up by 7 times, India's market share is expanding rapidly, with projections pointing to a $7 billion valuation by 2030, heavily driven by U.S. clients. The volume required to hit those numbers is staggering. Tech companies are asking for up to 500 million hours of annotated data to be generated in a single day. Generating that volume means breaking down the physical world into tiny, readable pieces. For a robot to recognize a coffee cup, a human has to manually highlight and label that cup thousands of times from every conceivable angle. In India's Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns, this translates to workers wearing GoPros or Meta glasses for up to 8 hours a day, recording themselves sweeping floors, carefully folding their clothes, and cleaning bookshelves. For many, this work offers an immediate, tangible benefit. First-generation female graduates are securing financial independence and earning a reliable wage without having to leave their rural hometowns. Providing this foundational economic lifeline to rural communities perfectly aligns with the needs of Western tech firms. It taps into a massive labor pool at a price point that keeps their profit margins intact. But this current boom in data annotation sits in stark contrast to the massive $340 billion IT services empire that India built over the last 25 years. That legacy infrastructure relied on labor arbitrage, handling routine software maintenance, human resources, and accounting tasks for multinational corporations for pennies on the dollar. Now, those exact high-volume, repetitive white-collar tasks are the prime targets for AI automation. A global retailer no longer needs to hire an entire team of offshore software engineers to streamline their inventory. A properly trained language model can analyze those supply chains internally. The rapid shift toward data labeling is a direct response to this threat. Managed service providers are scrambling to secure replacement revenue as their traditional contracts dry up. The country is racing to build the workforce for the AI era out of urgent necessity, attempting to replace the very IT jobs that the new algorithms are actively eliminating. This map illustrates the severe asymmetry of the global AI supply chain. A data annotator in Tamil Nadu might earn 1,000 rupees for hours of meticulous recording, while the multi-billion-dollar intellectual property generated is captured and owned entirely by companies in San Francisco. It creates an extractive loop. Indian workers are meticulously generating the behavioral data required to train the exact automated systems that could eventually replace their new jobs. Despite possessing a demographic advantage, the domestic market is showing significant vulnerabilities, particularly a severe lack of private sector investment in research and development. Investors are reacting to this deficit. In the early months of the year, roughly $25 billion of investment capital fled the Indian market. That capital is moving aggressively toward rival economies like Taiwan and South Korea, markets that actually design and manufacture the proprietary chips and hardware powering global AI. Relying on a vast supply of cheap labor to process data, while failing to own the underlying technology, leaves a nation highly exposed in the digital economy. India's ultimate structural advantage remains its population. With 1.5 billion people, it offers a scale of raw cognitive talent but no other region can replicate. But scale alone is economically hollow if it is not paired with the creation of high-value, R&D-driven technology roles. Service providers have to move past basic managed tasks. The immediate steps require unlocking domestic public sector datasets and building localized language models trained on regional nuances. The long-term mandate requires moving up the value chain entirely. To secure its economic future, the industry must transition from merely labeling the world's data to owning the intellectual property itself. The goal is to evolve from running the back office to becoming the architect.